They say home is where the heart is, but for me, growing up, home was where dreams went to die. My family, sharp-tongued and practical, worshipped stability, steady jobs, quiet lives, nothing that might draw attention. I was the odd one out, the kid who scribbled dragons and distant worlds in the corners of her notebooks, who spent nights hunched over a battered laptop, weaving impossible stories into code. I wanted to be a game developer. Games are for children, my mother scoffed when I announced my dream at dinner. My father gave me a look as if I'd confessed to robbing banks. "You want to waste your life with that nonsense? You're embarrassing us," he said, voice cold as steel. My siblings joined in, laughter echoing around the table. "Maybe one day we'll see her on the news. Local failure loses everything on video games," my older brother jeered. The room erupted, their ridicule a wall I couldn't climb. That night, I cried into my pillow, shame burning in my chest. But beneath the pain, a spark flickered. Defiance. If they thought I couldn't do it, I'd show them. I'd prove them wrong, even if it broke me. The next year was a blur of slammed doors and silence. I scraped together money from odd jobs, surviving on instant noodles and hope. I coded in my cramped apartment until my fingers ached, battling waves of doubt and fatigue. Every rejection letter from publishers, every bug that crashed my game, felt like another family dinner, a reminder of my supposed foolishness. But I kept going. I poured my loneliness and longing into my work, crafting characters who, like me, just wanted to belong somewhere. My apartment's peeling walls became portals to new worlds, worlds I controlled, shaped by my vision, not by anyone's derision. Eventually, a tiny indie publisher took a chance on me. My first game flopped, selling only a handful of copies. But the second sparked something. Reviews trickled in, praising the story, the heart. Then a popular streamer played it live. Overnight, downloads soared. I woke to hundreds of messages from strangers who saw themselves in my game, who thanked me for making them feel seen. The years blurred by, filled with launches, awards, interviews. I built a studio. My studio. I hired a team, nurtured their dreams. The girl who'd been mocked for her ridiculous ambitions became a name in the industry. But no matter how high I climbed, part of me was still that humiliated kid at the dinner table, desperate for validation. So when I got the invitation to my cousin's wedding, the first family gathering in 8 years, I hesitated. But this time, I wasn't coming home empty-handed. The old house looked smaller than I remembered, the paint faded, the garden wild. I parked my car, brand new, barely a year old, by the curb. As I walked up the path, my heart pounded, equal parts dread and anticipation. Inside, the family was already gathered. Laughter, chatter, the scent of roast chicken. The moment I stepped through the door, silence fell. Faces turned, confusion blooming into awkward recognition. "Look who finally decided to show up," my brother muttered, a smirk tugging at his lips. I straightened. "It's good to see you too." My mother's eyes darted to my clothes. Designer suit, subtle jewelry. My father appraised me, gaze lingering on the car keys in my hand. The meal was a tense dance of small talk and thinly veiled barbs. Then, as dessert was served, my aunt piped up, "So, what are you doing these days? Still playing with those games?" The old laughter hovered, waiting to pounce. I took a deep breath. "Actually, I run my own game development company. We just won a major industry award last month. Our games have over 2 million players worldwide." For a moment, the world held its breath. My brother's fork clattered to his plate. My mother's lips parted, words caught in her throat. My father finally spoke. "You really made something of it?" I nodded. "Yes, I did." I pulled out my phone, scrolling through photos. Me on stage accepting an award, my team celebrating, fan art sent by players from across the globe. I passed it around the table. I watched their faces shift, disbelief, then awe, then something quieter. Regret, maybe. My mother's fingers trembled as she handed the phone back. We didn't know." "You didn't want to know," I said, my voice steady but soft. "You wanted me to be safe, but you never saw what I could be." No one spoke. I felt years of hurt and loneliness well up, threatening tears, but I didn't let them fall. Instead, I looked at each of them, letting the silence fill with everything I'd accomplished, everything I was. Later, as guests left and the table was cleared, my father found me on the porch. He stood beside me, hands in his pockets, eyes on the dusk. "I'm proud of you," he said quietly, voice rough. "I should have said it sooner." I nodded, emotion swelling in my chest. "Thank you." For the first time in years, I felt seen, not for who they wanted me to be, but for who I'd become. And in that moment, home was not a place where dreams went to die, but where I finally proved that dreams, no matter how ridiculous, could change everything.